Hi everybody, my name is Vinny LaMonica and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a 10-minute bassoon warm-up. So, when I talk to my students about warm-ups, my first question is, what's the priority? What is the point of your warm-up? And the answer I try and lead them to, and the answer I'm going to give you today, is that from the second you take your instrument out of the case, remember, it's not just an instrument, it is a musical instrument. And so the first thing we must do when we take our instrument out is be musical. Because if you are musical in your warm-up, you will amaze everybody with how good you sound and how musical you are in all of your playing. So on the bassoon, and I would recommend the same thing for other double reed instruments like oboe, the first thing I do is I try and get a good sound in the low register with a gentle tongue and nice tone. So what I do is I start on whisper key C, and I work down the chromatic scale. So I go from C to B natural to B flat. I go all the way down to low B flat. And what I do is I'll play C, B as a slur, and then B, B flat, A. So I'm repeating each note, and I'm slurring in twos. So listen through and then maybe back up and try it with me. So this is the first thing I do when I take my bassoon out of the case. Now you may have noticed I was doing some subtle crescendos and diminuendos. What I like to do is I like to imagine I'm in 4/4 and I lean on beat 1 and I lean a little bit on beat 3. So I go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Listen again. Play with me and see if you can match these musical shapes I'm making right from the first thing I play. If you're having trouble with this exercise, and a lot of people do when they first start it, it's a sign of a couple issues. It means your embouchure is not quite right or your reed isn't quite well made. What I like to make sure my students are doing is they have a round, loose, and forward embouchure. They're never biting down. I see a lot of bassoonists play with the old man embouchure, We don't do that, right? Round, loose, and forward. Put less reed in the mouth and make sure you're not, using any weird vertical pressure, just an even sound. Once I do that, I want to make sure my tongue and my air are working together really well. So I start on that low B flat and I work my way back up, but I tongue 3 notes on each pitch. So I go ba, 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 ba. And I make sure that the second and third notes on each pitch are leading to the next pitch. So I don't go bum, 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 but I go bum, 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 so that the music is alive and there's forward motion through the line we're playing. Try it with me. And you can do that as far up the range of the bassoon as you want. So now I know that my air is controlled, my reed is vibrating well, my embouchure is good, and my tongue is controlled. The next thing is to make sure that the way I am pacing my dynamics is musical. So here's where I do a couple long tones. I'm going to talk for a second about how important it is to pace your long tone well. I want you to think of your long tone as a multi-step process. First, we exhale for 2 beats. Then we breathe in for a beat, we set for a beat, and we start to play. So we go play. So out, out, breathe, set, play. Then when you come in, I want you to come in as softly as you can on that note. It's going to take some time and you're going to find yourself cracking notes as you learn this process, but it's going to make you an amazing musician. And you come in as soft as you can and you think the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 with a fermata on the 1. Okay? So I'm going to do one on flick A. I think it's the most important note for bassoonists to make sure they're doing their long tones on. So we go. So I went out, out, breathe, set, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I would do that on a couple notes. Let's try a tough one. I'm going to do low F. This one has a tendency to crack, has a tendency to be sharp, so this is a good one to make sure your embouchure is good. So ready? So now, I made sure that my fingers and my tongue are moving together, that I have good airstream, that I have control of the pacing of the air, that I'm getting a good sound, that I'm playing musically. Now I'm going to build in some scales. Now what I recommend doing with scales is pick a scale you like. You're going to do 1 octave, but you're going to go 1 note too high. You're going to go to the 9. So I'm going to demonstrate with a C major scale, and I'm going to play in even quarter notes. I want you to play your scales in even rhythm to make them more musical. You're going to crescendo on the way up and decrescendo on the way down. So first I'm going to do it tongued as even quarter notes in C. So I'm still going to do the out, out, breathe, set, play. Now I'm going to change some of the rhythms and change some of the articulations to make it more interesting. So I might do it swung. Or I might do it as dotted A16s to make sure I'm really subdividing. Or I might slur in pairs. Or I might do it fully slurred. And I would do that a couple different patterns on a couple different scales. I might try it in the low octave or the high octave. I might even do a 2-octave scale where I go 1 note pass in both directions. But I spent some time making my scales musical. Now the next thing I'm going to do is the trick to becoming a successful musician. A lot of people talk about when students or professionals play auditions, what knocks people out of auditions is their rhythm. I don't think that's entirely the case. I think that's the symptom, but I don't think that's the problem. I think most people don't have enough control of their tonguing to play in time. So what I would recommend doing is take a metronome, set it to maybe 100 or 104, and spend some time tonguing 16th notes. And do that every day and every warm-up, and maybe scoot the tempo down to 96 and try it on a different note. And then go up to 104. I call that leapfrogging, when you turn the tempo down 4 and then up 8 and then down 4 and then up 8, and you keep doing that. And see if you can get all the way up to 126. Make that your goal since, we all have this extra time in quarantine. Spend a little bit of time every day on that in your warm up. And remember, it's a musical warm up, so we're not going da 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 da. We're going da 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 da. Beautiful crescendo diminuendos. So those are the parts of my 10-minute warm up. I would do slow slurs in the low range, then slow tonguing coming up from the low range. Then I do some long tones. I do scales in equal rhythm, going to the ninth or, up 2 octaves, 1 note pass on each side, different rhythms and different slur patterns. And then I would do tonguing exercises to make sure my single tongue is even, accurate, and controlled. I hope that helps.